What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of yet another episode of Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 25, Reunion Part 2. So it starts off where it left off last week, and that's with Shaq and Kirsten, where Shaq had said that he felt like he was not good enough for Kirsten, and that's what led him to say no on decision day. So now he's saying that he does regret telling her no, and I bet Kirsten felt very vindicated by this, because my personal opinion, I feel like Kirsten felt embarrassed when Shaq told her no, especially since she was the one that was sort of rejecting him in the beginning. She really wasn't attracted to him in the beginning. He was always attracted to her. So when he told her no on decision day, I think she felt rejected, and I think she felt embarrassed. And I think ever since he said no, she's been wanting him to admit to the world that he made a mistake and that he should have said yes, which he finally did. And I'm pretty sure now she feels really good about the fact that he's admitting that he made the wrong decision. Not because she really wants to be with him and create this life with him and have a future with him. She just wants to be vindicated in knowing that he's letting the world know that he shouldn't have told me no. So then after that, the mothers come out. Shaq not being able to see more of her family. They talked about that because during the season, he kept on talking about how he wanted to spend more time with her family. And she kept on putting it off, talking about scheduling conflicts and all this other stuff, all of these excuses as far as why he couldn't spend more time with her family. And the mother backs her up on that. Her mother says, yeah, there was scheduling issues, and there was also some miscommunication. Okay, that's fine. I can understand that happening if you're trying to like make plans once or twice, but for 2 whole months, there was just no way, not even like necessarily together as like everybody together, like the mom and the brother and the sister and the father, but meeting with the mom for dinner, and then meeting with the brother, and then meeting with the dad. You know, they could have done something like that where he was able to get to know them all a little bit more, like on a one-on-one basis, if they couldn't do it all together as an entire family. Kirsten didn't want to be seen with Shaq in public. So they talked about that. So evidently Kirsten is, you know, she knows where all the happening spots are in Nashville. I don't know if I guess she's got a really big social circle. She's a real social butterfly. So she knows where all the happening spots are. She knows a whole bunch of people. And she said that the reason why her and Shaq really didn't go out that much was because she did not, listen to this, she didn't want to run into people that she knew who saw her with a husband today, and then 2 months down the line, they see her again without a husband. Then she'd have to explain why she's no longer married. That's a bunch of hogwash. Okay, it's a bunch of hogwash. I don't know what the real reason was of why she didn't want to take Shaq around town. I don't know if she was embarrassed by him, if she felt like he wasn't, you know, good enough to be walking beside her downtown Nashville. I don't know what her real reason was, but I am not buying that. So he felt like she was hiding him, which she was. She was definitely hiding him. And for some reason or another, I think she was just embarrassed to be seen with him. So why couldn't they make it work? Kirsten's mom said that they had the expectations were too high on them, and it was too much pressure. Whatever the reason was of why it didn't work, I think that was for the best. I don't think that Shaq and Kirsten need to be together. Shaq is still sticking to what he said, that he believed he was not good enough for Kirsten. And I guess that's why he put on a show like he really did need her. Like, you know, he felt like he was because, you know, Kirsten, I could be wrong in reading her, but she just kind of comes off like she thinks she's all that. She thinks she's all that, and she thinks that, you know, any man would want her, and that she's any man's prize, any man's catch. And I think that Shaq wanted to knock her down a couple of notches to make her think, hey, don't sit up here and think that I can't live without you, or that I'm desperate to be with you. That's the impression that I got from Shaq during the season. But he says, hey, he was walking around, moping around like a lost puppy because he felt like he was never good enough for Kirsten. Moving on from there, let's talk about Dominique and McKinley. So they come out to talk to Kevin Frazier. Now, Dominique, her dress, it looked like, people on Twitter were saying that it looked like a prom dress. Her dress, to me, it looked like a tomboy you know, a tomboyish girl who's trying to be all girlish and doesn't know exactly what to do. Her dress was very ill-fitting. I think it made her look bigger than what she actually is, because I think it was a size too small. She looked really uncomfortable in that dress, but I digress. So Dominique never convinced that Mac was going to show. Yeah, they talk about that, how she always felt like, you know, in her heart of hearts, that Mac was not going to stay in Nashville, and she has specifically told the experts that she wanted a man that had roots in Nashville and would not leave Nashville, because she has no plans on leaving Nashville. Then they give her Mac, who was staying in somebody's basement. It seems like he was a transient, like he was just passing through Nashville, and that eventually he was going to end up in Michigan, which he eventually did. Her big didn't intend to ask for a divorce. So on the day that they met with Pastor Cal, when she said that she wanted a divorce, she said she did not go into that meeting wanting a divorce. But when Mac really wasn't trying to fight for her or trying to fight for their marriage, and they're already having problems and already having these little arguments here and there, she was like, you know what, let's just might as well end it now. Mac had no intention of getting a divorce that day either. He says that he didn't want to get a divorce, but she was, you know, given this really great story or great explanation of why they shouldn't be together. So he was like, hell, she don't want to be with me, I'm not going to force her. But he says that he didn't want to divorce McKinley. I mean, he didn't want to divorce Dominique, which is funny to me, because he talks about how he always had his eye on Gina. He never really was attracted to Dominique, that, you know, he had the stronger attraction for Gina. But now he's telling us that he never really wanted to divorce Dominique, that if she would not have asked for a divorce, there's a very high chance that him and Dominique probably would still be together today. So to me, Mac is a player. Okay, I don't think Mac knows what he wants. I think Mac is for the streets, just like Aries is, and he just goes wherever the wind takes him. Like I said, Dominique expected Mac to really fight for their relationship, which he really didn't. And right now, where they stand is that they're open to being friends with one another. You know, whatever animosity, whatever pettiness they had for each other is gone, and they would rather just make a clean start, you know, being friends. Mac, he says he's been dating here and there. I don't know what that means, because I thought he wanted to be with Gina. You know, I thought Gina stole his heart. So what does that mean, that you're dating here and there? You're dating here and there with Gina, or you're dating here and there with multiple people? Because that's what it sounds like. Dominique said that Mac and Gina would have been a good match, and she herself was also dating. Even if she knew that her and Mac would not work out, I really don't believe in my heart of hearts that she's truly happy to see her husband, the guy that she was married to, even though it was like a blink of an eye, the marriage was over. I still don't think that she's that excited to see Mac and Gina together. I just don't buy that. Moving on from there, Gina and Mac. So they come out and they sit with Kevin Frazier. Mac admits that he was a bit hard on Clint. So when Clint had made his comment about, you know, how he doesn't really date women with Gina's body shape, when the guys were all talking on the beach and on their honeymoon, I think it was Jamaica. Did they go to Jamaica? Yeah. When they were all talking on the beach, Clint, you know, gave his opinion, and that's when Clint had what's his name? Mac had gone, he went really hard on Clint, like, oh, Gina's so beautiful, and I don't know why you don't like her, or why you're not attracted to her. She's the most beautiful woman in the world, and I'd get with her if I could. I mean, he kind of went a little bit overboard. So now looking back, Mac is like, yeah, I kind of was doing a little bit too much on my boy Clint. I should have kind of scaled it back a little bit. So, but you know, Gina loved, oh, I loved it when you were standing up for me. So Mac reached out to Gina first, you know, by sending her some stupid emoji on social media. It's just weird to me, maybe because I'm so old, but it's just weird to me how people take these emojis and the social media stuff so seriously. So he sent her a fire emoji, and she was like, oh, it felt good getting a compliment. It's just a fire emoji, girl. Like, it's not like he wrote you like a 6-page love letter, Aaliyah. So then he reached out to one of Gina's friends and was trying to hook up with one of her more attractive friends. And I don't know what that whole thing was about. Kevin Frazier was trying to say, oh, you're trying to make Gina jealous, or you were trying to hide the fact that you really were crushing on Gina. No. Mac is a player. Okay, he's a player, and he was reaching out to one of her friends because he has no boundaries. He hooks up with his homeboy's wife. He wants to hook up with one of Gina's friends. He is for the streets. He has no boundaries. Okay, wherever he can get it, that's where he's gonna go. Then so Gina made some type of joke. I forgot what she said. Whatever, all of her jokes are corny. She went on and on about how Clint is corny but no, your jokes are cornier, okay, because your jokes don't even make me crack a smile. I mean, even Clint, he may not be, Eddie Murphy in here or Richard Pryor, but he made me chuckle a couple of times. He made me crack a smile here and there, but your jokes fell flat. So at the airport, that's when Mac realized that he really wasn't attracted to Dominique when he saw Gina, which is another thing very strange to me, because he's talking about when the group got together after they got married and they got together at the airport, and this was the first time that everybody saw each other. And that was the first time that he laid eyes on Gina. And he said that when he saw her, he realized he was more attracted to her than he was to Dominique, but you couldn't tell because when they got to Jamaica and they were in that pool, things were getting hot and heavy. There was also a scene that they didn't show during the season, but they showed it at the after party. It was a scene in Jamaica where the group was having dinner together. Everybody was getting tipsy. After they had dinner, they started dancing because I think they had like a Jamaican band come out and play music. So everybody just started partying and dancing, having a good time. Mac and Dominique booked it. They left. They ran so fast to their hotel room to take care of their urges that they didn't even stick around for the little party that was going on. So, but you want us to believe, Mac, that you had no attraction for Dominique. You were always stuck on Gina, whatever. So, but he says now he is open to dating Gina or seeing more of Gina. They want to go out to dinner together after the reunion, whatever. Gina, good luck on all of that. Moving on. So the guys get together with Kevin Frazier. They talk about various things. I only noted the things that, I found interesting. Aris didn't try any type of intimacy with Jasmine because he didn't want to lead her on, which is what I said in the beginning. That if he could have tapped that, he would have tapped that, but he didn't want to be misleading to her. He didn't want her afterwards to hold that against him and to be like, well, if you don't like me, then why did you sleep with me? So that's why he never went down that road, because he didn't want to have those conversations. Like most guys, they don't want to have that conversation. Well, why did you sleep with me if you really didn't like me? So is Mac dating Gina a violation of the bro code? So I'm pretty sure everybody was basically like, no, they're grown, they're adults, they can do what they want. In my personal opinion, the reason why they acted like that they didn't have an issue with Mac and Gina getting together was because they wanted Mac to feel comfortable. These guys are not judgy. Okay, they're not going to sit there and judge each other and be very critical with one another, right? So they didn't consider it a violation of the bro code because I think outwardly they wanted Mac to feel comfortable, and they didn't want to make him uncomfortable, like he's in the hot seat and we're judging him, and they didn't want to make him feel that. But I think for the most part, they all believed that him and Gina hooking up, I don't think it was very kosher. I don't think any of them believed that was the way to go. Even Aris with his doggish ways, I think I don't think he really supported that. Chris, for sure, I don't think supported that. And I'm pretty sure Nicole had given him an earful on her opinion on Mac and Gina getting together. So I don't think Chris was very supportive of it. Clint, I think he probably felt the tiniest bit of betrayal from Mac, more so than Gina. And Shaq, he was the only one that kind of spoke out, and he said that that's not something that he would have done. And I don't know if it's a violation of bro code, because I don't know like how genuine this friendship is. If this is just for like, they're going to be friends just as long as they're filming together, and then when everything shuts down, they go their separate ways, or if they're really going to continue this friendship, I don't know. But I don't know if it's a violation of a bro code, but I think it's uncomfortable. At the very least, it's uncouth, okay, for Gina and Mac to be hooking up, to be flaunting their relationship in front of everybody, or whatever it is that they got going on, and for Gina to be so critical of Clint, who really didn't do anything bad or wrong to her, and then to flaunt her infatuation or attraction to Mac. And it's just uncouth. It's probably not a violation. It's probably not even considered being unfaithful. It's none of that. It's nothing that heavy, and it's nothing that deep or that serious. It's just uncomfortable and uncouth. So moving on from there, the experts come out. Dr. Pia says that the couples had too much expectations. Yes. They were not open-minded enough. Yes. And that they were too quick to give up if one thing went wrong or if one expectation was not met. Exactly. I mean, this group of people, I think they were all kind of flimsy. So Dominique and Mac come out to talk to the experts, and they all agree that Dominique was too critical on Mac, because she started off by saying that she really wasn't that hard on him, and everybody was like, what? Did you not watch yourself? You were very hard on Mac. She truly was, because she wanted him to do certain things, and she wanted him she was very demanding. She was extremely demanding. Like, she wanted him, he had to, he had to be happy to do certain things that he really didn't want to do. She didn't like it if he didn't feel like doing something, a certain activity, for God's sakes. She would get really offended. Anything that she wanted to do, she wanted him to do it with her, and she wanted him to do it with a smile, whether he liked it or not. She was extremely critical of him, very bossy, very demanding. Yeah, there was no way that he could have lived with a woman like that. So I guess next to Dominique, any woman was easier. So Mag said that watching the clips of their good times made both of them kind of choke up a little bit, and realizing on the missed potential with her marriage to Mac, Dominique began to cry. She got really emotional, and then she said that she feels like a failure, because yeah, she looks back and she sees what she could have done differently. She sees how things could have been better. Of course. And so now she has a lot of regrets. But girl, it is what it is. Everything happens for a reason. Then Kirsten and Shaq come out to talk to the experts. Dr. Pia was all kinds of confused with Shaq. Didn't understand what Shaq wanted, what the real reason was for him not saying yes. Didn't understand anything about Shaq. Dr. Pepper said that she was glad that Shaq regretted his decision to say no. So Shaq and Kirsten come out. Dr. Pepper asked, did y'all color coordinate? Did y'all talk about this? And they're like, no, we didn't, because we're both wearing yellow. People might see that as a sign that they're meant to be. Okay. Kirsten acknowledged all of her shortcomings. Kirsten speaks, she knows how to talk a good game. Okay. She was talking about how she realized, all of her shortcomings, all of the things that they could have done differently, how they all could have tried harder. She was like, I understand that in the beginning I had my walls up. I wasn't vulnerable. I wasn't transparent. I kept him at a distance. So she says all the right things. Kirsten then questions his genuineness when they talk about if Shaq is really ready to start over with her. And she just questions on whether or not he's genuine about it, because, he fooled her before and she doesn't want to be fooled again. Kirsten seems hesitant to come out and say that she is willing to give him a second chance, because it kept on pressuring them. So do y'all want to get back together again? What do y'all want to do with each other? And they really didn't say convincingly that, yes, we want to give this a chance. We made a mistake. We love each other. We want to be with one another. We want to start over. It never got that strong. It was always, we'll have a conversation. We'll see where it goes. Shaq does apologize to her, but he felt short. So he turns to her and he says, I'm sorry for hurting you when I said no on decision day, for hurting your feelings, etc., etc. But he said everything except, but Kirsten, I want you back. Kirsten, we should be together. I made a mistake. I realize now that you are the one for me. I was too scared to acknowledge that. I was too scared to face the challenge of what it's like to be with a very confident, beautiful Black woman. But now I'm ready. You're everything that I need. You're everything that I could ever want. And it's you that I want to be with. He didn't say none of that. We'll have a conversation. We'll see where it goes. So Kirsten tells him exactly what she needs from him. She says, if we're going to do this, I don't want no more games. I don't want no more play. If you want me, I need you to tell me that you want me, that you want to be with me. And still, he didn't quite come out and say that. So then they put all the group back together again on stage. Everybody's back together on stage with, I think it was just with Kevin Frazier. So they talk about Shaq and Kirsten possibly reuniting again. The experts told them to be specific specific. They tell the group, yeah, we had a conversation about us possibly getting back together. The experts told us that we have to be very specific with what we want, etc. But they're still both giving very vague answers. Everything is, we'll talk, we'll see where it goes, we'll start off with dinner, start off with a conversation, and Kevin Frazier was just chomping at the bit for them to make a definite decision. If you want to be with one another, just come out and say it, damn it. But they were very hesitant to do that. So my final thoughts on Shaq and Kirsten: don't do it. Whatever the reason Shaq had for saying no, whether he was truthful when he said he felt like he wasn't good enough for her, whether he knows what the reason is or he doesn't know, whatever led him to say the word no on decision day, there's a reason for that. So I understand it's a lot more interesting and a lot more romantic for them to reunite and do it better the second time around. But I feel like there's a reason why he was there's a reason why he said no. His spirit led him to say no. The universe led him to say, there's a reason why. And I think that if they try to get back together, it's going to be a disaster. And I think he's going to end up telling Kirsten, you see, I knew why I said no on decision day. I knew there was a reason why I said no on decision day. I should never come back to, if they try to get back together again, in my personal opinion, I think it's going to be a disaster. Life is about moving forward. It's not about looking back. We have to move forward. You said no for whatever reason. Kirsten, she's going to feel some type of way. And y'all, I cannot change my mind on how I feel about Kirsten. I feel like the reason why she felt bad about him saying no, it wasn't because she was losing the love of her life. It was because she was embarrassed. She was embarrassed by being rejected on national television because she's used to men always telling her yes. She's the rejecter. And I think that she said yes to Shaq because he's going places. Career-wise, financially, this man is going places. And maybe she wanted to, stick along for the ride for a short time until she got what she wanted out of him. And then I think she was going to bounce. But, I'm the cynic. I'm very, very cynical. That's just how it is. That's just how I feel. Because you know what? If you're meant to be, it should not be hard to say yes to one another. Do y'all see how easy it was for Nicole and Chris to say yes? I mean, they didn't even need decision day. They should just skip past decision day and just start living their life as a married couple. Do you see how easy it was for them to say yes? Saying yes to someone that you love and that loves you should never, ever be a challenge. It shouldn't be questioned. It shouldn't be any doubt. It shouldn't be hard to do, difficult. We got to think about it. We got to go to therapy about it. We got to have a conversation about it. We need people to tell us, what's really going on. No, if you want to be with someone, be with someone. Okay, throughout the reunion, Eris and Jasmine, they sure were very close with one another, because at first I was like, okay, because the way that they were sitting on that couch, she was like all snuggled up, next to him, and, he had his arm. Sometimes his arm was like really around her, and sometimes his arm was just laying on the back of the couch behind her, but she was like snuggled deep into Eris. And I was like, okay, maybe because the couch is really small, she doesn't have a lot of room to like sit separately from him. But no, because I looked at the other couples and there was space between them. The couples that didn't work out, there was definitely space between them. There was space between Gina and Clint. There was space between Dom and Mac. There was space between Shaq and Kirsten. So for her to be all laid back into his body like that, girl, you want you some Eris. I think Jasmine wants to be vindicated as well. And I think she wants to break Eris down. I think if Eris was like, hey, Jazz, what you doing? She'd be like, nothing. And it'd be on and popping. If Eris wanted it, Eris could get it. Why couldn't, okay, Gina and Clint. Gina never has anything nice to say about Clint. The only thing that she said that was remotely okay was when she talked about how she wanted, and not necessarily in this episode, but in the previous episode, when she talked about how she really wanted Clint to pursue her. And she regrets that he didn't try hard enough to turn it around for them. And Clint was like, I never got the signs from you that you wanted me to turn anything around. Okay. And I don't know why she says that now. Oh, he didn't pursue me. I mean, she did say, she also said it during the episode, during the season, but she never gave him any indication, because she could have given him a look, a gesture, a something, you know, to let him think, okay, you know, if you tried, I'm not going to say no to you. And not even necessarily for intimacy, but just for getting closer to her. If she had opened that door, he probably wouldn't have mind stepping in. But I think she was like closed off. I think that she rejected him. I think that she had put up a wall between them. I think she wasn't interested. I don't even think they even talked. Anyways, it doesn't even matter because the season's over. But anyway, my whole point is, what I'm trying to say is, I feel like, Gina, why couldn't you see the more softer, loving side of Clint? Everybody saw it, but you, even your dog saw it. Okay. The fact that he was so loving and caring towards your dog, and your dog took to him so easily, couldn't you like say anything nice about him? Like, I mean, he wasn't that bad of a guy. Just because he says he dates women who are a little bit smaller than you wanted to like crucify this man because you're so body image conscious. You wanted to crucify him because, you know, he's not falling all over you physically, and, you know, he would prefer, girl, anyways. I'm just saying that she should have seen the better side of Clint instead of just focusing on the fact that, oh, he doesn't like women who are shaped like me or whatever. She was just so into her, feeling like, oh, anyways, moving on. So the rest of the, okay, as far as Nicole and Chris, their love bubble, shout out to Teresa Giudice, their love bubble, I think that everybody else just tolerates it. I think everybody else on that damn stage just tolerates this annoying love affair between Nicole and Chris, because I mean, there's just something about Nicole and Chris. It's like, yeah, they like, you know, they love each other, they're into one another, wonderful, great, but I don't know. I think they just tolerate it, because I know I do. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me for this review. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.